civil society. But Joshua has talked about this conversation cannot be about the political elite. Should we be having a broader conversations like he's suggesting, right? He's saying maybe we need to go back and look at the National Accord, because independence of institutions, right? The IEBC was a major issue right after the August polls last year. Now the independence of police is at center stage, and you know, you brought up 2007, and remember the police WAPs, the Inspector General of Police then, the police, what was he still called an Inspector General of Police? That I can't quite remember, but the head of the police service was taken as some of those. He was not indicted, but he was on the list, you know, that envelope that was handed over. He was on the list of those who were considered to have contravened the law. So independence of institutions, do you think we need to go back to the drawing board?
I think as Kenyans, this is I would say a wake-up moment, a defining moment. We really need to introspect and look at our society and also build cohesion and integration within our society. But that being said, even as we do that, there is the overarching issue that is unfortunately a political issue. So what ICJ is opining is that we need to have an approach that seeks to quell the current situation that we are having, and that can be mediated by a composition of different people, eminent personalities, private sector, civil society, religious leaders, and also political experts. And the list was not exhaustive. That was just an example of a multifaceted composition of mediators that could be available. So we are saying that even as we look at our social fabric, even as we introspect and look at the independent commissions and how they have performed, failed, and not performed and failed in equal measure, we really need to just address the situation right now. Key issues that are coming up is we still have discourse to go on electoral justice. We haven't finished the questions of electoral justice, and that is a real hot button issue right now, because you find that we have the IEBC Amendment Act 2022 that seeks to design a new select committee, and unfortunately that hasn't gotten bipartisan support, and that is an agenda item that we have. We also have the question around whether the various independent commissions are acting independently, which is also a great concern for the country at large. So we see that indeed there are various discussions that need to be undertaken. The bigger discussions that we are having as a country, and I think part of the reason why these mass demonstrations are getting sufficient traction is because if you really look at the issues that some of them are being put to the fore are high cost of food, high cost of fuel, high electricity costs, and it's about to go higher in a couple of weeks. High unemployment rates with people who actually have degrees and diplomas from credible institutions. A bloated government, high budgets in regards to certain offices, and high debt. So there are many issues that ought to be considered, and we cannot say that right now is a question around the independence of the police. There is still the question of the independence of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. There is still the action on inaction on the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution. There is still discourse around the question on the Gender Equality Commission and the Kenya National Human Rights Commission. So as a Kenyan society, there are many issues that need to be addressed. And I really appreciate the sentiments of my colleague around looking at, one, the implementation of the Constitution and where we are right now, the implementation of the National Accord and where we are right now. Are there issues that we have to look at? The proposal to even have an office of the opposition, I think we didn't even debate that sufficiently before we went into the next agenda item. So as a country, we have a lot of evolving issues that one cannot say this is the prominent issue now, but what as ICJ we are calling for is, in order to see a peaceful resolution to the mass demonstrations, a peaceful resolution to the issue at hand, which is the protests, we need all entities to come to the table and have a discussion and forge a way forward. It is quite unfortunate that the discourse on handshake has been labeled as a Nusumkate type conversation, but I do believe that as two leaders who have the command of a very big populace within our country, they can agree on certain way forwards without it necessarily being a question of sharing the government. There are issues that cut across. It doesn't matter whether you're an Azimio La Umoja supporter or a Kenya Kwanza supporter, we are all paying the same electricity bill. We are all paying the same for unga. We are all paying the same for certain issues. So are there meaningful steps that can be undertaken? Is there a plan that can even be jointly developed? Because at the end of the day, some people who are actually engaging in these peaceful assemblies are there because they have a need that they want the government to listen to. So it is not about the political class, it is about the social issues that are currently there, the economic issues that are real in our country. So yes, as ICJ, we have proposed a multifaceted composition of a mediator team to look at how they can resolve the issues. We are also aware that the religious institutions have made great headway into discussions with both. We're aware of the USA government also intervening in this same space. And I think everyone in their own mechanism is trying to bridge peace. I think that's the overarching issue. We just want peace for now and to see a possible way forward, but not disregarding the kind of work we need to do as a country. There's roles for civil society to do. There's roles for government to do. I believe that periodically a lot of our institutions have issued very serious reports around where we need to stop gap on various issues, particularly even access to justice, social justice, judicial reform, independence of commissions, security sector reform. We have done all that. But right now, we need to address the issue and ensure that it doesn't escalate into a point where we can't really take back.
Okay.